Are you pressing the button?
Welcome to the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show. I'm Jane Johnston, realtor here in Victoria, and this is a show where we cut through the noise and talk about what's actually happening in our local market.
I'm Andrew Plank, also a Victoria realtor. We'll talk stats, timing, neighborhoods, and what we're seeing behind the scenes.
And I'm Jen Lowe, mortgage broker. I'm the numbers person of the group, and I'll chime in with the mortgage side.
Each week, we break down what the market means for you.
All focused right here on Greater Victoria.
No hype, no pressure, just honest conversations, local insight, and practical advice.
Let's get into it.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show. I'm Andrew Plank, and today we're going to be talking about multiple offers. How the heck did we end up in multiple offers? This is the holy grail for sellers and the dreaded news for buyers that how did that happen? So who have we got with us today?
Hello, I'm Jane Johnston. I'm with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, and
Jen Lowe, mortgage broker with Dominion Lending Centers Modern Mortgage Group. Good to see you guys.
Hello. And
hello.
And Jen, you were saying you are not in town.
I'm not. I am in Calgary. My son is in a national lacrosse championship called the Minto Cup. So I'm joining from abroad, from Calgary. Yes.
Rah, rah, rah.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Okay.
he's doing well, and he won MVP, I heard.
He did. Yes. Yeah. He got an MVP game last night. So we got a traditional wooden lacrosse stick, which was very, very, very cool. So.
What are the news today if it's not wooden lacrosse sticks?
That's a good question. They don't use wooden ones. They use
Carbon fiber probably or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right.
So
we're going to talk. Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Okay. So we're going to talk about how do we get into multiple offers. I was just working with a client yesterday, and I've been involved in a few lately. And so how, as a buyer, do we get into the multiple offers? We don't expect that. We're told sometimes the market's slow, and then all of a sudden we're getting like other people who are showing interest. I actually had this happen this morning on a listing of mine. And it's just like, where did they come out from?
Yeah, they dropped out of the blue, and people often question, like, is there another offer? How do we know if there's another offer? Why is there another offer suddenly now after the property's been on market for 2 months, and we decided to write an offer, and now suddenly other people are putting their hat in the ring? What's going on here?
Jen, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I feel like people are waiting because they think they can, and they're hoping prices are going to drop.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, there's interest is sparked, and then the other people come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, there's sometimes a lag on a listing where it's a decent place, and there are people in the background. It's that the water is filling up behind the dam. The water being the buyers, but it hasn't yet overflowed yet with people saying, "I'm going to write an offer." They're just more saying, "I've got some interest in this property. I'm also still looking at other properties, but this one's still the best one we've seen. But we're not in a hurry. The market's not moving that fast. Let's just hold off. It'll be there when we are ready."
Right.
The other thing is sometimes as a buyer, when you're looking at properties, you may not be ready to write an offer yet. Like you may be, this is the first property I've seen that you don't realize the value of what you're seeing. It speaks really as a buyer agent to practice showing the best property last, or the one that you think is going to be the best fit last, so that they realize the value. And I've been telling clients, like, don't just book one showing. We want to book 3, maybe 6 max, so that you see how things present. Layout's so important, and all this stuff, and how it fits into your lifestyle. So, but I would say if you like the property, write the offer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it is hard for those buyers and they miss out on those dream properties they see first. They don't understand just how wonderful it is. You're excited for them and about it, but they don't have the background knowledge and the experience of seeing other homes yet to understand just how excellent an opportunity it is. But by the time they do realize that, the property may already have received an offer or be under contract. So how do these things happen? Yeah, I mean, they happen just naturally because, as Jane said, sometimes people are no longer, they're not quite ready to make an offer. Maybe they have to sell their home first, and they've been waiting for an offer on their home before they write.
I remember with my very first buyer, I showed him a property that he liked. And first of all, we saw, I think, 9 or 10 properties. He was actually navigating with the paper map. And we went to see this property. It was the first one. And I remember him standing there and going, it can't be this easy. It can't be. And of course, it wasn't that easy because that other property got an offer right away. And he then, we had to wait for the builder actually to build another exact replica of this property, which was about 6 months later. And I was just like, ugh. So actually on the weekend, I was showing a property. It's a really sweet one in Cobble Hill. And I was like, you know what? I don't usually say this. And I know this is like the 5th house that we've seen, but this is good value. And I just thought I'd tell you, if you like the property, write an offer. And they thought about it overnight and then they decided not to, but I think they'll find in the future.
Yeah. I have a slide in my buyer presentation that's Morpheus from the Matrix, and he says, what if I told you that the people, because people say, oh, I want to think about it overnight, right? I want to think about it overnight before I make a decision. I want to think about it. What if I told you that the people who saw it yesterday, or if you want to, I don't remember how it goes, but it's essentially, if you're going to think about it overnight, the people who saw it yesterday and were thinking about it overnight are probably writing today. Right.
Right.
So don't delay when there is something that actually matches all of your needs, because you should be writing that offer, because there is always someone else out there in the background.
Yeah.
So what happens is when you write the offer, the listing agent generally will notify everybody else, will send what's called a touch base out to all the other realtors and say, just so you know, we have an offer. It's open till such and such a time. And then they'll notify their clients. Right now, that system goes to our email. So realtors do have to be checking their email. They then notify the clients. The clients say, okay, you know what? I really like that property. Let's write. And then you have the race. Yeah. It only takes 2.
Fear of loss is a bigger motivator than the opportunity to gain. And when you've got that property in the back of your mind, it's like, oh, that's a potential. But, nobody else is interested in, I don't want to be nobody else has offered on it yet. So I don't want to be the fool who offers on this necessarily. And then it completely goes 180 when they hear that there's an offer. And so when agents get those messages that Jane referred to, and those agents, if they have the time and they're available and their clients are available, they get the message over to their clients. Not everybody can connect the dots super quickly. Those buyers might say, yeah, you know what? I don't want to lose this. I want an opportunity to get this as well.
So we just received an offer on a property, and I got a message from a realtor saying we're just finishing our financing. And if, we may be thinking of offering, but we have to just make sure that we're okay. And so this really speaks to you as a buyer agent, working with a team, with someone like Jen, just making sure your clients are prepared and ready to move forward so that when we see the property, they can write the offer. Because it's very frustrating for a buyer to find the property they really like and they can't move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very frustrating. So
Definitely.
Get your finances in order.
Ducks in a row.
Do your research. And then when you're looking at properties and you like the property, write the offer.
So Jen, you can do magic, but when someone hasn't done all their due diligence with you yet, and then they come to you and say, I wrote an offer, I'm super excited. Or you haven't even, they come out of the blue to say, hey, I need you to help me with a mortgage. And you haven't talked to them yet, but they've written an offer. and hopefully they haven't worked with Jane or I, because we will be vetting our clients to say, have you got a mortgage broker? Are you pre-approved?
Yeah.
But tell us about the uphill battle you face when someone says, I've got an offer, there's a timeline.
Yeah. So when we receive that paperwork, I mean, going back one step, when we do a pre-approval, the key piece to the pre-approval is where I am reviewing the income documents. It's the income documents that are most important for the type of income and ensuring that the clients qualify for that mortgage. And quite often we're needing more income documents. So you think you just need an employment letter or a pay stub, or well, we might need to go back a few years, do an average. There's multiple different ways that income can be reviewed and looked at. So if you've already made an offer and we haven't done that back and forth, getting your documents, it's putting a lot of extra pressure and in a short timeline. That's already a tight timeline.
Yeah.
Because the seller wants it to be as quickly as possible, and the buyer, of course, wants it, to not, have more time.
Yeah.
So it can create some challenges, but definitely in working with a mortgage broker, having access to more than one lender, I know as I'm placing mortgages with multiple lenders every day, which ones are quick and which ones aren't. So if we've got a real tight timeline, I'm going to go to a lender that, if I can, based on the circumstances, that I'm going to get an approval as quickly as possible.
So the choice is less about the best fit and more about the only available fit.
Potentially. Yeah. Like here, and understanding, okay, I know you want this rate special that's, come out, but that particular lender has a 3 to 4 business day turnaround, and we've got your subject removal date in 5 days. So how are we going to, we need to create a plan around that and getting you what you want.
And here's the thing with multiple offers, when you are in a multiple offer situation, when you discover that you are in a multiple offer situation, all bets are off. You need to make your offer as clean and as attractive to the sellers as possible. And that usually means tightening dates. If you do end up with that accepted offer, you're going to have a very likelihood of someone else in the background in a backup position if you're in multiple offers, or you're going to be having a lot of other people ready to go. And that dam has built up even behind. So if you then need to go and ask for an extension because the lender needs more time, you're going to have trouble getting that.
Right.
Yeah. And I want to say, though, that for backup offers, a lot of realtors or buyers don't go for the backup offer because they don't want to limit themselves looking at other properties. But this can be a mistake, especially if the first buyer doesn't have all their ducks in a row. I would definitely say, if you like the property, write the backup. And then if you want to not go forward, you can release it.
That's a good point, too.
Yeah.
That being said, we're talking multiple offers. And have you ever experienced multiple offers in a backup situation?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it happens. You can have someone get into a property, get an accepted offer, and then there's still a lot of interested parties. So they then put their hat in the ring to be in a backup position, especially in this day where rescissions are allowed.
Yeah. So right now, so you write the offer, you're the listing agent, and then agents are telling you, you know what, so the condition removal is on Friday or whatever. We're going to wait until Friday to see what happens with the offer. And I'm like, okay. As a listing agent, I'm like, great, because I'm
going to go back to multiples. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just, anyway, but the issue is the buyer is emotional about the process as opposed to being factual and logical. And they're like, you know what? They didn't accept my offer. Piss on them. That is essentially what they're saying, when they should say, you know what? I really like this property. I'll just be the backup. That's fine.
I try to remind people of their aim and their goal. If your aim and vision and goal is this, and that property matches that, and we weren't able to get through that first, the multiple offers didn't come together for you. You were not one of the people. You were not the one. Then let's continue to try, because a backup offer, I have seen many offers that don't come together. We get notifications all the time. Such and such offer fell apart. The property's back to being available. So you may as well try to get your hat in the ring for that.
So this also speaks to another thing, which is that if you feel the property is slightly overpriced, what I tell buyers is maybe you want to wait, because the waiting will cause the listing agent and the seller to lower the price. However, what that can do once you get to a good price or the market value is then you get the multiple offers. So, and then what it does is then it lifts the price again, because people go, well, it was, $50,000 higher before. So I don't mind going up 50,000.
Yeah. This is counterintuitive, and not every market does this work in. So first of all, in the really strong markets, people were underpricing their homes in order to get multiple offers. I've also seen the other side of this, where they overprice the home. Let's say it's not even a super busy market. They overprice the home, and they still have people coming and looking and coming and looking and coming and looking. Now, you could do a strategy of incremental price drops over time until somebody says, yeah, that's the right price for me. But you do that, you're probably going to end up with a lower price than if you'd priced it appropriately to begin with. That being said, what I've seen some sellers do is the home is listed for sale. It's not meeting the market. People are not bringing offers, but it's getting exposure. But there are people who, it's a beautiful home, and at the right price, they would buy it. They drop the price $100,000 or two, like they drop the price significantly. And then it goes into multiple offers above asking. Right. And it finds its place. And I find that is an interesting strategy / event, because it's a lot better than that like slow incremental burn.
The other thing is, some people, agents and or buyers, will say to me, you know what, I don't want to get into multiple offers because I don't want to pay more. And multiple offers don't necessarily go over asking. There are 5 conditions, terms, etc., that are part of an offer. And it could be the first offer is subject to sale, but the listing agent's not going to tell you that. It could be that maybe it's subject to financing, inspection, and all these things. And you can write an offer maybe with tighter closing dates, or you're not writing it subject to your place selling already. You've already sold it, or your cash. Like, there's lots of nuances to writing an offer, and I can only guarantee you one thing. You're not going to get the place if you don't write the offer.
Yeah.
That is a guarantee. I was going to say, what can you actually guarantee in real estate? But you're pretty correct there.
I had such good timing on that one, you guys.
You did. That was awesome.
Okay. Have we put this puppy to bed?
Great chat.
I know this is so deep a subject. We could go into it a lot more deeply. I think one of the things, part of, how did I end up in multiple offers is our topic. One of the things that we do have now is the disclosure of multiple offer received form. So we do, if we do end up in a multiple offer situation, we can request, it's actually required of the listing agent to provide us with
within 3 days.
Within 3 days, to provide us with the form signed by the sellers, and it outlines not the other offer amounts, but it outlines what who the other brokerages were that brought the offer.
Yeah. And
so
within 3 days,
what's the disclosure of multiple offers form?
Yeah,
so you have to send it off.
It's called
to
disclosure
the other
of multiple
agents.
offers received. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and that way there's a little more transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I agree with that form. Actually,
Totally.
I think it's a good idea. And it keeps the agent on the straight and narrow. Not that many agents are not on the straight and narrow, but sometimes, you just want to make sure it's totally transparent. So
Yeah.
makes you trust the process.
Yeah.
One other question or point about that. So I'm just wondering, because you hear that realtors can use the strategy of, oh, we've got multiple offers coming in. So that
Mhm.
form is making sure
Yeah.
that that is actually the case.
There had been
Yes.
times, when a buyer obviously and rightfully questions, they're just hearing from their agent, who hopefully they have a trusted relationship with, but they don't know the other agent or the sellers. And they're saying, well, how can we know for sure?
Mhm.
And in the past, we couldn't really know for sure. We certainly have colleagues who, for the most part, most of our colleagues are pretty darn awesome. But you definitely need to. It's really helpful to know this and to have it in writing. Can that still be gamed? Sure, it still can be gamed. Does it help with transparency? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And are there huge ramifications if a realtor is found to be lying, even before we had this form? Massive. You're not going to risk your license. You're not going to risk your reputation, hopefully, by playing silly, stupid, immoral games.
Yeah, and trust is such an important part of the process as being a realtor. And
Yeah.
if you lose the trust in the realtor, or the buyer loses the trust in the process, and I've had buyers like that where they've come to me. I call it realtor rehab. So they come to me and they just want it straight. They want to
Yeah.
know what's going on. They don't want to be gamed. They want to be like, just write the offer. And in one case, they actually had an offer on a property. They had told me before, we don't want to ever be in multiples. It went into multiples after they wrote the offer.
Totally.
And I'm
You have
like,
no control
you
over
know
that.
what? Yeah, I said, they were like, we want to withdraw the offer. I said, don't withdraw the offer. Just keep it in there. Like,
See what
you already
happens.
have your skin in the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they like the property. I was in a situation recently where I think it actually would have been beneficial for my client to rescind his offer in multiples. So simply because we felt we were being gamed. So
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we better move on, because we got to get to the next topic, which is what's going on with the mortgages.
Yeah. Well, so we've got some potentially good news for fixed mortgage rates right now. The U.S. Treasury announced that it's doubling its buyback of longer-term government bonds starting in September. And because of this helped push the U.S. bond yields lower this morning. And then our market, of course, is tied so closely to the U.S. market that this has affected our 5-year bond yield. Now, this is just kind of a one-day effect, so we don't know where the trend is going to go, but there could be some relief for fixed mortgage rates coming. Another update that we've had this week is that across Canada, our home sales increased for the 4th consecutive month in July. So prices have remained pretty flat per se, but markets, including in the Lower Mainland, seem to be moving back towards more balanced conditions. So
Good.
That's a really interesting stat. So
Yeah.
every month for the past 4 months across Canada, on average, sales have increased.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So potentially we got some good news with mortgage rates and on the housing front.
Okay.
I think the bond, that's a strategy in response to maybe what Carney's doing right now, which is saying that they were going to release bonds. I don't know. That's not my forte, but that's what I heard. So that may be why they're doing that. That makes sense. The U.S. doing that.
Yes.
Okay. Oh God. Okay.
All right. Well,
Anyway, I'm dealing with an offer right now that expires in 12 minutes.
oh,
I've got to run here too.
I'm
Do you
like,
you want to? Okay. I can do the weekly stats really quickly. If you guys need to run.
no, we
how
can
to-
do them. It's
Andrew?
okay.
You want to? Okay, real quick here.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So 275 new listings in the past week. 295 the week before. 161 pending this week versus 147 the week before. 124 price decreases versus 131 the week before, and 61 expired versus 60 the week before.
That's positive about pendings. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pendings are going up.
Okay, so anybody feel like the market's faster than it was a few weeks ago?
Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And it shouldn't, going into August, we go through the stats every month. It should be on a downturn in August, but no, we've been busier.
Yeah. This past week's been nuts for me.
Okay. So we're at a 58.55% list to sale ratio, and that's up from last week at 49.83.
Great.
So far for this month, we have 290 net unconditional sales compared to 529 for this same month last year.
Yeah.
And 500. I don't get that.
So 523 in August 2025 as of is what, sorry, same month last year.
So we're higher this month so far than last month this year. Correct?
Okay, I'm going to just read this month. So we're at 624 new listings compared to 1,130 last year.
Yeah.
I guess the projected range is maybe 1,078. And the total active listings were at 3,749 compared to 3,598 last year in August. So we are, okay. I gotta go. Sorry, I have an issue.
Thanks, Jane.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, everybody. This is Real Estate Live.
Yes.
We're
100%.
dealing with putting out fires and dealing with stuff and timelines.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we're gonna move on here. I think that's it, actually. So we're good. I'm Andrew Plank. I'm with the Vibe Collective at Royal LePage. I'm a real estate agent in Victoria, Greater Victoria. And my number is 250-360-6106. And you can reach me info@andrewplank.com or website andrewplank.com. Jen.
I am Jen Lowe, mortgage broker with Modern Mortgage Group through Dominion Lending Centers. I am at 250-217-4925. Email jen@jenlowe.ca, and my website is jenlowe.ca.
Great. And we also have Jane, who just had to run off, but she's with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. That's Jane Johnston at 250-744-0775. Email Jane at briarhillgroup.com, and also the website briarhillgroup.com. And she's on Instagram as well as realty teacher _Remax_Victoria. So we are the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show, coming at you now live on Wednesday mornings. And also recordings will be available throughout the various online ecosphere. So thanks so much for joining us, guys, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us on the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show.
We're here weekly, bringing you up-to-date insights on the Greater Victoria real estate market.
Make sure to follow and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you listen to podcasts so you'll never miss an update.
We'll be back next week with more clarity around what's happening and what it means for you.